Most people explain themselves far too much. Why they made a decision, why they changed their mind, why they chose a different path. And it's not because they're wrong, but because they desperately want to be understood. What no one tells you is this: the more you explain yourself, the less powerful you actually feel. From a very young age, we're taught to justify our actions. Explain things to our teachers, explain to our parents, explain to our managers, and even our friends. So, we grow up believing that being understood equals being safe. If people agree with us, we feel secure. If they don't, we start to panic. Slowly but surely, explaining becomes a habit, a reflex, even when no explanation is required at all. We end up over-justifying things that are perfectly reasonable on their own. Here's the part most people don't notice: the hidden cost. Every unnecessary explanation is a quiet form of self-doubt. You think you're sharing clarity, but what you're really doing is asking for permission. Permission to choose, permission to say no, permission to change direction. And the more permission you ask for, the more authority over your own life you give away to others. You're handing them the keys to your decisions without even realizing it. So, why do people over-explain so much? It usually comes down to three core fears: the fear of being judged, the fear of disappointing others, and the fear of being misunderstood. But here's a hard truth: people who truly respect you don't need long, drawn-out explanations. They trust your judgment. And the people who don't respect you won't accept your explanations anyway, no matter how perfect they are. So, for them, the explaining is a game that never ends. Then, there's a moment in adulthood when something quietly changes. You start to realize that clarity doesn't come from convincing other people. It comes from being certain within yourself. You stop defending your choices. You stop narrating every single decision you make. You just let your actions speak for themselves. This isn't because you've become cold or distant, but because you've become grounded in who you are. What happens when you stop explaining all the time? Well, a few things. Some people will definitely feel uncomfortable. Some might feel challenged by your newfound certainty. A few might even distance themselves. And that's okay, because what also happens is this: you feel calmer, your words become fewer, but they carry more weight. Your decisions feel cleaner and more decisive. Silence is no longer awkward. It becomes a sign of confidence. The power of not explaining yourself isn't about arrogance. It's about self-trust. When you trust your own direction, you no longer need external approval to move forward. And when you don't need that approval, you can finally move freely. Sometimes, the strongest statement you can make is no statement at all. If this resonated with you, you already understand more than most. Thanks for watching.